Do we got 2 for it?
I think there's some clips, actually.
Adrian and Doom.
No, we got a head-to-head.
Okay.
Adrian and Doom, amazing players. They're honestly right now they're the only team that are sticking together. That team, they're the ones that are pushing their team over the line. And actually, if we look at the game yesterday versus G2, we have plenty of rounds where you have example of this. This one, for example, a 3v3, a 3v3. They're in attack. They're in a 3v2 situation. Who's covering it? Adrian.
What a shot.
A crazy shot on that C4, and he saves the day on the second round. And if you look at the rest of the round, it's always the same story. Adrian here with the diffuser takes the decision to go down stock and go up red stairs. At the same time, Joom gets a kill on the anchor right there, and he pushes forward and will get a second pick on top red stairs. And as you can see, Adrian goes up red stairs and kills right now the construction player. Every time when they're left alone together, they beat everyone.
Both of these players, in my mind, are absolute wild beta star players, and they both play for Team Secret. It's incredible. This, by the way, here from Adrian, raw mechanical FPS ability. That was a hard thing to say. Just to get that plant down and get it to a win situation for Team Secret. And again, these two guys are pulling them out of every situation and allowing Secret just to get those round victories. And in my opinion, were the reason that they beat G2 yesterday.
And my question is now, what do Secret lack to beat a team like BDS? Because now they're climbing up the ranks from one difficulty to the next in the gauntlet.
Obviously, they lack consistency. But what's the reason behind it? For me, first, there's Savage. Savage is not playing as he should. He used to be a really good player on that team. He used to be both a leader and at the same time someone able to frag. I don't see that anymore from him. And the second reason I would say is Grubby, because I think Virtue is playing really well with 2 others. Grubby seems lost. He doesn't seem to be connected to the team. He doesn't react well. He's not always trading. And that's my issue. He seems a bit far apart from the rest of the team. If these two can connect together and have a real chemistry, it's going to be an incredible roster.
And that's how we saw Team Secret making it to the main stage at the Manchester Major. That kind of ties it all together, even without having Virtue back then. So imagine now. However, our map bans for this series, of course, the best of 1. Jack, can you please walk us through it?
Yeah, so, I mean, Team Secret obviously have a couple of permabans coming into this in Chalet and Cafe that they don't really play. They then will ban away Bank. Obviously, it was their first ban. I've gone a little bit out of logical order there. It was their first ban. BDS unbeaten on this map against absolutely bloody everybody in the world. And then Secret ban away Consulate, which is a map that they struggled on and lost to VP on. That pretty much gave BDS the pick of all of the other maps that they really like. The interesting thing for me is they've gone to Border, which by preference, BDS don't really like, and Secret absolutely love. And I just wonder if it's a bit of a mental thing. Like, we're going to take you to your best map and we're going to beat you on it, Team Secret. It's like the gauntlet's been thrown down.
I think it's a bit surprising. I don't want to read too much into it because every time we interview BDS, they're like, oh, classic day on the job, we were screaming and then we were really good on the map and so we chose to play it. And I actually think that might just be the case because Border, it's been a long time since they've been playing it. I assume that they've reworked it a little bit, that they've been trying new things in scrims with a new season, and probably they feel more comfortable in it than we expect them to, and that's why they're taking Secret there, which is still, to me, a big surprise. Like you said, one of the best secret maps, and you had 4 different maps to go there. I want to say something, though, that I want to point about BDS.
Yeah.
They consistently ban Lair, and I find that interesting. They're one of the most consistent team in Europe.
Montreal.
And they're not showing it right now. They're not showing it. Who's saving strat? Not G2, BDS.
BDS definitely play that.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. Maybe we'll get to see Ligavak at the end of this matchup going up. They were really good, but, you know, it was something else. Though, Leo, Jack, thank you so much. Our game is set and ready, and it's BDS versus Team Secret. And who else to guide us through it than Hap and Food? Please take it away.
Thank you very much, Milosh. And yes, we are back here in the hallowed halls of EUL to bring you some of the heat halfway through the season, the last day of Super Week. I'm Fluke, that's Hap.
Yeah, I'm very excited to go through it. These teams have had a very long week already. Of course, some of them have had a break here and there, but most of them have had to play consistently onwards. And, well, these two are going to be starting it off right on board. A very aggressive map, as we usually classify it as. A lot of opportunities for some quick plays to come through, so both these teams need to be on their tippy toes.
Oh, I mean, I think that, you know, I know that it's said right on the desk, we're BDS, we're playing 5 out of 10 right now, we can do better, sure. It's BDS, it's on Border, sure. I remember very vividly some BDS games on this map, last split, absolutely destroying Mountain People through all the softs. They can play pretty much any map. They can play pretty much any setup, and they are pretty good. at making you fear maps. So if it is that mental game that they want to bring here against Team Secret on the right, who are a little bit on the up and up, well, let's see.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, this has been, you know, the crazy part before users and Solotov even joined, right? Like back then, they could also just, you know, snap their fingers, pull the trigger, and everybody would just die on the other side of their guns. So, you know, users and Solotov coming in was mentioned on the desk as well. Shaiko, last stage, wasn't the best rated player for their team. Currently, he's also not the best rated player in the team. And that says a lot about a team like BDS. For a man that's dropped like, what was it, 100 kills, 6 or 7 stages in a row without any issues. So it's like, someone else being in there now, it just makes it such a scary team to go up against.
We are starting to get a bit of a proper shape towards our leaderboard. I think we're never really in doubt at the teams that would be towards the top. I think BDS, obviously, since the changes, strength to strength to strength to strength. Across EWC, across obviously the finals at Manchester. Wolves, you know, I guess they were a bit of a harder call, but Secret are a team that I think we kind of had high expectations of, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I mean, they did kind of, you know, they did really well last stage. They kind of came out there, and I mean, they got 2 wins on the board now as well, but people might have expected them to be a bit further up there. And actually had a chat with the coach, and, you know, they're aiming to end themselves in a top 2 position in this league. So they have high expectations of themselves as well. Those 2 losses definitely don't help now, but there's still a lot of ground to cover. There's still, you know, after today, 3 more matches that will have to be played, or 3 more play days before it's over. And even then, you have those playoffs. So for Secret, it's just very important to get into the playoffs here. Finding 3 points today would definitely solidify that run for them and allow them to actually go for the top 2 spot.
If they are the ones that are able to put that pressure on towards BDS and really push them over the brink, they can be bled. It's been proven before. It will definitely change a bit of the fate from when we last see them get 1-7. The start here up towards Armory. They're trying to force Savage further and further away from the security PC side, but it's actually Groovy that suffers the end of Shaiko's barrel first.
They're playing around on that Deimos, and actually BDS have been a very big fan of bringing that Deimos. I believe there's 22 rounds already. This is round 23. A beautiful shot from League Effect to come through. And another one to just come in. It's like all these keepers are being shut down, and so is the rest of Secret. And Joom, the only man on site right now, against a full team of BDS, being tracked, being stunned. There's no way he's going to live through this, right?
We said that maybe they had to make a statement. I mean, that's a statement. First round, flawless, and they never really slowed down. They sort of hit the boards running, got the pressure onto the site, or pretty much around it instantly, and then from that point onwards, it was just a matter of cleaning up the kills. They never really seemed to find a wall that was insurmountable, but first round, the perfect one for things to go entirely horribly, because you can kind of brush that one off a little bit, Hap.
Yeah, that's true. If the first one goes wrong, it's like, okay, you know, let's lock in now. It's unfortunate how it goes that way, but it's definitely not the end of the game. Again, 11 more rounds to be played before regulation is over. But it is definitely one of those statement rounds. And as I mentioned, you know, like Shaiko playing around on that Deimos, they've been bringing it the most out of anybody in the league. I think BDS is even the only team that has it in their top 3 operators. Actually, is their top operator on attack. None of the other teams do. And with that, you know, it's just Shaiko on that gun as well. It's a deadly force, especially if he has, well, real-time information on your whereabouts. And again, Border is a paper map, right? Like, you can just shoot through all these walls. There's nothing stopping you, and a Deimos is then extra scary.
We start again. Another bit of pressure, and at what point I'm wondering when we might get Secret trying to push them a bit further back out, trying to find some of that confidence. As I said, it's a fight you can sort of win and lose either side of it. And they're very good at taking it, but as the drone gets pulled towards a castled-in player towards the top of the eastern stairs, at what point are they going to try and swing their way out aggressively? They're waiting for an approach. They're confident, and you can see BDS setting up that encircling. They're sort of buried underneath. Go for the break immediately. They're trying to catch the player out. The grenade is going to force the motion, and he couldn't quite get the Kiba down in time. Adrian was hunted and pounced upon.
Yeah, good kill to come through there from Shaiko. Knew exactly where it was. You saw it on the drone a lot earlier as well. And this just opens up a whole lot more ground. Doom, luckily, however, strikes back, holds off East for now. They don't want to have the same kind of like snowball effect to come through, as actually Solotov will find Savage on the opposite side of things. And Hack now comes through onto Groovy. So there's the death mark. They know exactly where he's going to be right now. It's going to be called out. Top of East. Shaiko's actually the one that's challenging himself with the Vendetta out here. Actually, June finding another kill probably when the hunt was attempted.
Well, they're able to get themselves in and some of the control here over Eastern Stairs. They haven't quite been able to net as many kills at this point, but the back and forth that's gone, they have to try and reevaluate, try and reassess the pace they want to apply. It's still a 3 versus 3. They still have good pockets of utility, you assume. Haven't quite seen the Capitao bolts pop off as of yet. They've got the Echo that they can play against it. There it is. Still got 2 of them in pocket, as well as a couple in the pocket of Zafir as well. But as they circle themselves here towards the server, towards the back of offices, they're just trying to make sure that they have that little bit of clarity as they finally try and dive and drive in. Can they try and get that held down? Will they go for the pull? They're holding on. Users gets the cover onto 1. As they get the cover onto 2, officers are locked down, and they're going to secure the plant. No! Just stop, but not for long.
And the scary thing there as well was that 3 of the players left on the opposing team were all low on HP, like 4, 11, and 65. As soon as that fire starts coming in, it would have been like an instant death for any of them. Instead, it was the guns that finished the job, however. The instant response as well from Shaiko. As soon as the first kill happens on the side, he just rushes office, secures the second. And then, well, you can stun all you want to try and stop that plant, but there was too much time left. They knew exactly where you were. And another round is locked in by the side of BDS. Makes it 2-0. There was a bit more bite, however, this time by Team Secret. We're actually trying to, you know, swing back after some of these kills came through. Shaiko wasn't having as an easy time as he was before because, you know, when he was using the death mark, the rest of the team was kind of working around it. It's like, okay, this person is tracked. Let's see if we can stop him. And it just slowed him down slightly. It didn't take him out. It didn't neutralize the threat. But at least it slowed it down. Gave them a fighting chance on the side itself.
10 seconds left before insertion.
But after 2 of these rounds, we will be headed downstairs. We're going to go over to a bathroom tellers. A completely different kind of take this will be. Verticality is important here to some extent. They also have the opportunity to, well, bypass most of that. It really depends on how heavily the defense is cornered themselves up on that top floor, how much verticality they're actually trying to utilize themselves, and if there's a way around it. But it does mean that you usually will see at least 2 or 3 attackers try and clear out the office area just so you can get those hatches under control.
2-0 and a slightly slower round, but when it came down to the execute, you could see that excellence of BDS as they encircled the plant spot. Adrian is once again playing that Eastern Stairs side. I wonder how long 4 really is. It seems to be the first point of ingress that BDS has wanted to make multiple times. Here, the long fight towards the back of the break room. Groovy has a little bit of safety, but we've seen how safe castle walls can be. That grenade doesn't quite get the catch that it wants. He's just playing, wasting, baiting, and hoping to draw as much as pressure is going to come from underneath him as well, potentially. No. Shuffles their way out. June has that locked down.
It's the break room door. Adrian on the east stairs trying to provide some other cover, so that way only really having to worry about CC. Antracell tossed in from Jube. He's not going to be catching anything. They're already too far up. But as long as this one person is stuck here in break, it's actually not going to have too much happen. But Savage coming in from below, finding a Nitrocell kill. Groovy then finding one on the return before he gets traded out. But that's the man advantage right now for Team Secret, who are stalling that top floor take. I said it before, like they're going to try and take that top floor to get those hatches. Those Nitrocells came through. They managed to find at least 1 kill on the back of the Pulse scanner.
Another pause, another break, and Secret have the man advantage. They've got themselves double stacked and waiting a minute here for BDS with, you'd say, slightly less to get themselves the cementing in of a plant here. They don't obviously have the ability to cover off spaces. Everything has got to be a bit of a drive. They might be able to remove some utility and get themselves a bit more of a stretch, but in terms of actually getting in, it's going to have to be a little bit violent, a little bit aggressive. The standard wall is open at the bottom of these stairs. There's a bit of pressure above. They know where this is coming from, but users could be that man that cuts it in half, waiting for the call that they can try and activate themselves onto the close window. There's a bit of a stretch. They found a pocket of space. It just takes Secret the time to close down here, as they might not know about the man close left. Brede is in this position to try and get the fight. Gonna hold for the plant. The flash has come out, but perfectly played. Got the kill he needed, got dropped, got traded out, and here, not enough. BDS, they lose a round.
The stall on the top floor quite enough there, finding 2 kills as they were holding off in break room. The nitro cells to be called in as well, of course. And you can kind of do that when Groovy's playing around. He's just checking by the castle barrier every now and then. You know, he's going to be giving call-outs like, okay, they're deep in CC. You also have that pulse, of course, feeding the information from the cardiac sensor. It's actually the man that got the kill in the end with that nitro cells. Groovy found the second. But then you've done enough damage already. You've taken out 2 huge operators, 2 huge players on the side of BDS. You have that man advantage. And it's still a tough side to take. And it just didn't have the utility to do it from above, so instead needed to force it horizontally. And it could work if you do have the site clear, because as soon as someone just sneaks up on you like that when you're planting, it's just not going to go down. So the lack of information hurt them there in the end.
2-1. BDS haven't quite been able to storm into the lead, but to be honest, you know, although it's fair to call the current position in the UL pretty dominant, I don't think that there's really been the biggest knocks on their progress. As I said at the start of this, although Secret have had knocks, they have always been a team that can bite against some of the bigger EUL teams, right? They're always, you know, they had some fantastic runs earlier on in the year. They're able to get themselves into a very decent spot in the first split, in the major. Them being active against a big dog might be the time that they start to remember their bite.
You always play better to some extent against like the most clean siege teams, or at least that goes for a lot of them. It's just how it's meant to be. And if it's very pure, then, you know, it's easier to predict what's going to happen. It's easier to play against it. But then you also have the players like Shaiko on the opposite side and users on the opposite side, who just will pop off at any given second for any excuse they can find, which makes those games a little bit harder. But the first defense round is in a map that is, well, I think you can say like the only attack side of map that we clearly have, or the only clear attacking side of map.
Now, as they try and get themselves pushed in, driving across the armory side, there's obviously not within a return towards that as a side itself. They do not trust it. When you learn the most common attack, you might be able to get the most common result out of it. The C4 is stopped by users, who's just like a shark swimming in the deep and biting when it needs to. 2 kills, great bit of motion up top. And now Liquefac, he's trying to find a catch into one loose player, just darting out of the direction as they restructure. They've lost that verticality, they've lost virtue. Doom is holding on for dear life, but at some point might have to hit the hatch and get out of there. This portion is his, but at this point, I mean, BDS, they're just absolutely shutting them down.
Savage, the last man alive, being taken down by users as well. And you know what I said before the round started, Emmy, about Shaiko and users being able to pop off at any given second? There's only a 4K from users with the glass just comes through and secures around as quickly as the previous one ended. And that's just the scary things to think about. Like, you don't know when that's going to happen. All you can do is just play your best game, play your own strategy, and hope that you can shut them down before they will shut you down. Because that was just a dismantling both on the top and the ground floor, so it was happening everywhere at the same time. And it's one of those snowball rounds. As soon as they get the first, well, Users was already in the middle of the archives. He managed to find a second as well. That means that the entire top floor suddenly has fallen, barring the one player that was still out there. And it just gives so much more freedom to the remaining team to actually start pushing. And whilst they might not get all the kills, it's definitely shuffling players around, giving Users the opportunity to get those other 2 kills as well.
There's a bit of a timeout here. Secret, having a conversation, having a moment, slowing things down, because fair enough, that was a momentum round. That was a fierce round. And if you're having, again, this was beautiful, ferocious, everything you need a Glaz entry to do. Throws me back a couple of years to when Glaz was an entry. Not on purpose, though.
It just happened to be like that. Bearing 9, of course, a powerful sidearm for a lot of these pros. I think the more average player will struggle a little bit with it, as it has a bit more of a kick, but these guys are so used to it. Just makes can even make Glaz an entry fragger. Next thing you tell me, it's Kali that's on the front lines.
I would hate that world. I'm gonna put it simply. I would hate that world.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be able to, you know, to play and live with myself being killed by a Kali every single time, being like, you only have 1 shot every 3 seconds. Well, top 4 being taken. You see the shield coming out here. The fuser being carried by BDS as well. Basically, this is setting themselves up to go for a fast plan. They have the glass, they have the smokes, they have the grim. It's all just focusing towards that 1 point.
Yeah.
For now, it's just taking out utility, not giving away the game too early. But it's coming already.
I mean, that's it. Get yourself locked in. He's moved onto the brick, so he can't quite be got from underneath. There's got to be a reaction. The EMP doesn't catch the C4. It does. Beautifully played and placed, and that is the way you roll them. 4 versus 4. They're able to put the pressure in with BDS knocking him back on the shield. There's fight underneath. The Deimos gets caught out, but with 30 seconds and a post-plant, they've got to try and restructure and reconvene. Savage takes BDS. Not entirely sure what happened there, and Users downs the player on the kit, gets down in trade. Oh, there was a lot about that round I liked, but a lot that Secret liked even more.
It's a bit odd because BDS had everything going for them, right? The plan was going down. They used 3 EMPs to stop any of the C4s from being able to detonate in time. Successfully get that plant off. Nitro cells pop up after, but your Monty is still up. And then you just see a bunch of BDS players dying all over the map. Like Shaika was down below metal stairs. I mean, he was probably trying to hunt some people down below, start sending some shells out. But you lose the Thatcher as well to the fight on the window. The Monty then goes a bit too aggressive maybe, rather than just waiting in the corner, because you had the crossfire. Users was in the armory. He could have quite literally just, you know, stalled as much time as possible and then get the kill through. You just saw here, by the way, that Nitro was trying or attempted to be popped. Couldn't because of the actual EMP that went through. I don't know why BDS didn't go outside at that point. Maybe he was afraid of a jump out from the office as there was still people out there. But then the other thing you could do is just stay in that corner. Just stay extended. You have the person around in armory who was unspotted at that moment in time. You could have used them as a bit of a surprise. Suddenly the panic will hit. It's a 2v2. And you're sandwiched in between the Monty and Users. But not going for that. And it kind of feels like a gifted round to some extent. Because again, everything went BDS's way until the diffuser actually went down.
Defender is exposed.
If they can get this level, Secret, if they can put a lot of pressure onto the early half, the defensive half of this, and find a bit of sneaky momentum, I mean, they could really put a bit of difference in onto their attack side. Groovy with the Boss G was trying to do exactly that, but it's EFAC. That might be the man mountain that stops them. BDS aren't taking any second chances. Oh, wow, and no second chances there. Savage and Adrian and Doom, okay. I was gonna say they're building up for something, but Secret before the House of Cards can be finished, it flipped the table in the entire score. EFAC's inside office, but not for very long. Clocked out, knocked out, and we might end how we begun here, Hap, with a flawless, but this time for Secret.
It's odd because for like the first 4 rounds, it seemed like BDS was definitely truly in control, and then, you know, kind of everything started falling apart. Right after that post-plant that came through, this round as well, nothing really been achieved. The first step into the building will be about to be made. Users will find a kill, instantly being challenged by Nitrous Cells and SMGs firing through the wall. It's a minute 40, and he will find almost another kill. Virtue's down to 8 HP. He's just going to be playing that patiently, waste some time. Sure, they're going to be fully aware where you are now, and that's with the push to come through, but a teammate opened up the hatch for him. He drops through. That's a double. That's a triple. It's a quad. And suddenly uses it in a 1v1, and look at the HP on Adrian Emmy.
What happened? Where has this come from, BDS? Well, okay, where has this come from, Secret? Because users dropped the hatch, had 3 of them lined up. It was a coconut shy for the man, and he's very good at playground games. Now, with a minute, well, it's locked out by Adrian, but I mean, Doom, we're all feeling that facial expression.
That almost just went very, very wrong for the side of Secret. It was a 1v5, almost ace clutch to come through. I think it's the DMR, you know, it just opened up the wall out there and gave the free angle over towards the defender in the last couple of seconds, but 22 HP on that castle. Any shot from any gun would have probably ended that life over there, and that would have been an ace clutch to come through.
That would have been... I mean, that round is almost reminiscent of like that era of, I think it was a Na'Vi team that just kept on having the worst possible things happen to them. And that was almost that again. Adrian locked it out, but there was a minute. There was a lot of time there.
Yeah.
And not a lot of health.
I mean, it's what I was going to say, you know, when it was Virtue up on the top floor with 8 HP and the hatch was still closed, it's like it's a minute 30, it's plenty of time, you just want to be wasting it right now. But as he drops, you just be like, well, I guess I'm going to have to go after it, and just drops as well, finds those 3 kills for the quad.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
And that must have been like a very scary moment in the comms right there for Secret.
Now, if you are missing it, because it's only at the bottom of the screen for a very little amount of time currently with the UI changes, Groovy is a little bit behind the pace right now. He's 1-6, which on a very aggressive map, a player like that, you really want them to try and get their teeth into. I'm hoping, I guess, from the side of Secret to see them get in a little bit quicker. But talking of pace, June straight in, underneath, wants to pop up the hatch, put the pressure on. They've got the Monty, they're getting rid of the Goyo canisters. They're doing everything towards that default plant. That, you know, it can be a quick play, but they're shaking things up just a little. The double shield with the blitz. They're going to try and get a pinch on a play here on the back end. The eyes are on towards Office. When will they want to activate Doom is that question.
Well, these castle barricades are kind of helping them as well, because they just have the opportunity to freely get themselves an off as a Solitov dies by Groovy. Particularly calling that out because he's playing on a hatch that's reinforcing Mujammed. Apparently they were afraid that it would be breached from below by a Hibana. Maybe it's, you know, something else, drones rolling by or anything like that. But it's the man advantage now for Secret on the attack, and it's definitely a good way to start this off, but uses, swings out, gets the kill, and then meets the blitz heads on. And Savage, well, he just unshields and gets the kill.
Well, 4 versus 2 is Adrian's going to lock it on, and you can see June thought for a second, do I need to activate? Do I need to get involved? If it turned into this sort of 4 versus 4, 4 versus 3 moment, you want to not just be sitting there as your teammates die, but you don't want to hand them the free body. As Adrian does go down, there's still some pressure coming on the back end. There's a shield that's doing a very dangerous little dance to cover the gap. The smoke locks it in and somehow wins it out there, Secret. Great entrance there. As I said, Groovy being able to get his teeth into that entrance kill. A fantastic response from users. Waited for the tracers. Did all of that sort of maths to go, this is which way I shoot. But unfortunately, the Blitz did the simple maths of I'm going to turn the corner. They're running away.
And now Secret finding themselves in the lead. Suddenly. which after 4 rounds seemed like it was maybe not really how the game would be going. Bit of a mistake made in round 5 in the post plants. Round 6 just fell apart super quickly, almost brought back by users. And then we have a good attack to come through right away. Double shielded as well. It's an odd lineup when you see it. A Blitz, a Monty, an Amaru, Lion, and a Flores.
A technical pause.
Yep. Means players
Again
are
with
not
this
allowed to
music.
talk.
Obviously, this is the
Luckily,
first time. This is the first time we're on E. Well, this split so far. I've missed this emotional music. Is that your final answer?
Is it? I don't know.
Phone a
Is it?
friend.
Am I gonna lock this in?
You gonna lock this in?
Yeah. It's my
Okay.
final answer.
In terms of the entry statistic, one of our favorite that goes around, and Dez's thing might be wrong. I don't want to call out Dez, but I will because it's funny. It's generally been almost 100% in the favor of BDS. Now, actually, we know that's wrong because we've seen at least 2 rounds where Secret have got that entry. So I'm actually going to stop speaking about this because just me about
I
to
have
bring
4
that up.
kills for Secret here.
Yeah. Dez is a liar sometimes. I feel bad because
I
he's
think
made
I'm
a very
watching
brilliant...
the same panel you are, but
Yeah.
oh well.
Oh well. There goes my point. I'm not going to talk about the entry statistic.
Well, what I do have is that it's 100% confirmed to whoever got the entry.
Okay.
How much that is worth, I don't know. Now I'm starting to doubt everything.
Well, maybe...
What is life?
I don't know. What is... Baby, don't hurt me?
Don't
Oh, okay. It's wrong in one place on my screen, but right in the other. Sorry.
Okay.
Generally,
Glad we got that sorted out.
yeah. At the bottom of my screen, it's wrong. Okay. 10-4 is what users currently sits at. Obviously, 4 of those from a, oh, this round is over, this could be a flawless, to a 1 versus 1. Huge round. Big mistakes from Secret, but mistakes are what needs to be punished. Good players will punish them. It was punished by users. At the same time, EFAC hasn't quite been able to get himself too into it. Neither is Solotov. 1 and 2 kills apiece. So for what is an aggressive map, this is where those worries might start to, rear their head, because on attack, if you're building behind one player that's getting in, getting excellent, that can be done. On defense, on a map like this, where there's not a lot of wiggle room, there's not a lot of places you can sort of hide away in, everything is active, they might become targets for a Secret that has generally been a little bit more even in their team KD.
Yeah, only Gruby a little bit behind there, who's finding himself on 2, but, there's only 1 behind Virtue, for example. But this is also like the strength of a team. If everybody can show up, then, you're allowed to have an off day to some extent. Like you don't have to be the top scorer all the time. And usually that's the case at BDS as well. Everybody's usually like close to or completely positive. It's a bit uncharacteristic. That is not the case now. And the worst part of this technical pause is that you cannot speak to each other either. So you just have to be there alone with your thoughts. At BDS, of course, having lost 3 rounds in a row now, 2 of them, or 1 of them rather, that was supposed to be theirs. They're going to be trying to, want to change things. They want to swap that momentum, flip it back around. And where will they do that? It's a big question because, Armory was just lost. It was a pretty convincing loss as well that round. So are you going to bathroom? Are you going to workshop? Or will you rerun it?
So we should be done soon. I think we're just going to rehost and get this all cleaned out, whatever has gone wrong. Because both teams want to get in immediately, right? Obviously, you're this early in towards the change of the halves. It's almost like that sort of fresh round idea I talked about after the first round. Is there is a point where you can brush it off and get in. At this point,
Yeah, but you don't want this to take too long because you're gonna
you
lose
just have
all
to
that.
sit.
Like
You just have to wait.
gonna lose the focus that you have built up, lose the momentum as well. Especially Secret now, who's definitely been building momentum. For BDS, it's also like you have all these ideas you want to try to make sure that you're winning the next round, but it's just taking longer before you can get into it. So it's overall it's just not a nice feeling as a player to just have that break. A lot of them don't even, you know, like to have a long break between maps and best of threes because it's just like, especially if you're fired up, you want to just keep going. What? Sorry, missed that.
No, it's going through the player cameras and Virtue's just not there. So
Decided to leave.
not bad.
Oh, there he is.
Thank you for cutting to that production. I was worried. I was about to send out a search party. At this point, if I was a mean
speaking
caster,
to Twister. Sorry,
Okay.
what?
I was going to say if I was a mean caster, I'd look to see the worst KD and say I would send out a search party for them. But I'm not going to do that because that's cruel. You were talking to Twister.
I was talking to Twister.
Yeah. About what?
And I was actually asking, like, hey, so, you know, Virtue obviously has been brought into the roster after he parted ways with G2. I was just kind of, you know, wondering, like, what's the goal? Like, what is the reason behind Virtue in the roster? And he's basically saying that he is there for the calmness that he brings.
Do you know what else is calm?
What else?
Hopefully everybody in chat and us right now, because what we are going to do is throw to a quick break as we get everything up. We will be back in a few minutes. Please go get a break and we'll be back very shortly.
This is the Blast R6 Major in Copenhagen. Are we ready, Copenhagen? 24 teams from all around the world made the trip here to Denmark.
Okamesh is straight on inside. He finds one, looking for a second. Okamesh is just eating him up for lunch. Gomez, as he plays behind one of the remaining Kiva barricades, to be a big nitro down here, and it's massive.
Trying to get ahead of it, spots it moving down the stairs, and there it goes for VP. The three go for VP.
Everything falls to Sploit down in the 1v2 here. They're both focused on him. No matter.
We are now down to our Elite 8.
Surely not resets. He's making the 1v4 look so winnable. There's no way. Resets to ace to 1v4. Esk is trapped in a corner.
But next, he collects one, a second, a third.
Oh, he's just insane.
Something feels a little bit different today. It's Championship Sunday! 24 teams made the trip, 2 remain.
The defense, there comes 1 kill and 2. It looks like there's one left standing. It's Volps against his old team. It could not be any more bittersweet.
Are they going to be able to close this out here and now?
In combat, every second counts. And time waits for no one. Unless you can slow things down.
So many players all around this attic position at the moment. Both players spotted, but the res can be made successfully.
Another one for Solotov. Information from the Bees. He goes deep. Shotgun.
3 kills for him to claim, but it's Hyper to grab shuttle. 2 remain for Astralis, but a shotgun at close range.
Iconic.
Let him go in. Iconic, be patient. Be patient. What are you gonna do? You know 2 are there, and he gets a bone. There's only 1 remaining, and Astralis are in good shape. And JR and 4K from Iconic.
Batman showing up. Save the day, save the round.
I think what makes Wild the team we are is kind of in the name. We're like aiming to be a pretty unpredictable team with a lot of aggression. That's kind of what the main strengths of our players are. We have a lot of good shooters basically on the team. So when you have that, you need to take advantage of it. And we're hoping to go into the season basically and be able to struggle with our aggression and our playstyle. We think we have a pretty unpredictable way of playing the game, and it's gonna shake up a lot of teams for sure.
If we're coming for you, run. We don't stop for anything or anyone. We are the danger from above.
Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for holding on with us. We're trying to get our game back in order, but it's a great time for us to step in a bit after that halftime and kind of have our own debrief before we set deeper into it. Jack, Leo, let's talk about the happening so far. There's some surprises.
Yeah, do you know what, Milos? I look at other esports and I love seeing halftime shows on, on the desk in the game. So we've got an impromptu one here. Obviously, BDS against Secret. It's now going to be 4-3 to Team Secret, but it started out really, really well for BDS. And the first thing that I actually want to discuss is Team Secret's ban. They banned Buck on the attack, and we have seen Shaiko play Deimos every single round. It's a pretty devastating effect. Secret did manage to pull themselves back into the game, but especially the first 2 or 3 rounds, it was looking pretty bad.
I mean, it was basically it. What they did by banning the Buck was trying to prevent the early round pick or entry fragging and getting rid of their roamers on the extension. And in the end, the Deimos completely fucked them. But the reason is, almost all of the rounds in defense were played in the first minute. It was either Secret going hard to play against an execute, or to play against the entries coming in, so trying to defend really hard against the extremities of the map, or it was just BDS rushing it at multiple pressure points, working as mini groups. So you'd see Shaiko with Yuzus working towards CC, and at the same time Likefak going east stairs with a drone from Bride. So they work multiple pressure points, and then there was this feeling from Secret of phantom pressure that made them move. BDS were punishing that, and after 3 rounds, that stopped.
And that's the odd thing to talk about, is that we're going to border. You talked about it. Secret is comfortable on the map. BDS are taking them to it, and BDS have proven that they can play any map that you throw at them, whatever the situation. However, given the context, Secret able to pull a 3-3-half on defense on border against BDS is quite impressive of a feat, Jack.
Yeah, I think they had to wise up, really. Like you said, it was all about that early aggression. I think Border's a really curious map. People like to kind of dismiss it and go, hey, it's just a gun-heavy map. It's just whoever frags the most. Of course it is that. That's like the big facets. If you can't shoot on Border, you're not going to be a good team. But like you say, it's about those mini groups working to manipulate the positions to basically achieve the round wins. Because, what did you call it in French? Whack-a-mole?
Yeah, whack-a-mole. It's basically it. Because what you do with Border is it's a very small map. So the way you defend it is you play very aggressive on the extremities.
Yep.
Now the thing is, to disrupt those roamers, or to disrupt the entries rather, what you try is to have multiple moments where you will go out, you'll play aggressive, you have different, but they have to be super extended. So in attack, you work as mini group to try to work on one space and another. And then that you whack them all, basically. That's what you do.
And Secret wised up to that a little bit. That's how they got themselves back into the game. Like I said, they started, 1-3, and then they they got the last couple of rounds on their defense, and they got it to a 3-3 split, which I think at this moment in time, considering they won their first attack, is a very good position to be in.
I think there was one clear turning point at that moment. I think the execution on Archives. Like if we can look that round again, I think, so you see this guy sandwich window, that's a classic rush by the way. So one player sandwich window, one is going up metal stairs, that's Chaiko. You have the Monty and the glass covers the long angle all the way down to square there. The Monty plays with the shield in his back in the safe spot from bunker because he cannot get C4. Look at the C4. 3 EMPs, and that's from Thatcher, the last remaining player from Archives window. And the reason why the C4 doesn't blow up is because of the 3 EMPs. Now you look at this situation, they're in a 4v3, and actually, BDS will lose that. They will lose that because they don't play around the plant. And that for me is the turning point. Because if you look at the scoreboard before that, it was 3-0 because, put simply, Secret moves too much, BDS punishes them 3 rounds in a row. Then there is a round where finally Secret gets aggressive and it's 3-1. And then there's that execute that they should have won. And then somehow they retake that and that's a flip. Yep. That's a switch. Because since then they've not stopped winning. That's the biggest thing for me.
And the question is that BDS can always come back into it. And they almost did there, Jack. It almost was a 4-2 half.
Yeah, well, we highlighted him in the pre-game. And we said he was the best player, obviously, in the league right now. Users have just got that special energy, that special thing about it. I can't describe it.
He's got something special.
Yeah, he can just make these moments happen. A 5v1 into a 1v1 within literal seconds. And then he lost the 1v1. And I will say it again, I praised Adrian. Adrian kept his calm and composure there to get his team that round over the line because his team had done all the great work to get it to the 5v1 and then they just threw it. I think nobody expected users to drop the hatch. It was an unexpected play and he gets 1, 2, 3, bang, bang, bang for it. Really special player.
Of course, Adrian saving the there at the end, even though he's 1 shot away, he uses open that bit of the wall and expose himself into a bathroom, the hallway, and then got insta shot. But if now we're looking at the second half, first round goes to Secret. What happens from here? Because we've gotten used to BDS taking us to the edge.
Yes. Well, it's really funny actually. The way they won that attack, by the way, they bring 2 shields. They brought Monty and Blitz.
Yep,
to counter the aggression from BDS. Something that BDS didn't do. BDS played around the frags. They played around Deimos every round. So it's a very different take. I find it funny. I don't know how much it's going to work though, because I can see BDS reacting to it, playing together, isolating the shields. They're not the kind of teams that can let themselves just like fumble around one operator.
The one thing that I do like about maybe they won't bring Monty Blitz every single round.
They had Amaru as well. I think that was kind of
a cheesy... It was a pre-planned pocket play, right?
Pocket
I
play.
can see them playing Monty or Blitz in most of these rounds because the one thing it does do is it forces the team to play around that focal point of the shield. You have to play around the Monty because if you leave a Monty isolated against 2, 3, 4 defenders, they're not going to do anything. So I can see them using the Monty or the Blitz as their kind of crutch on every single basis of their attack. So BDS will have to wise up to that at some point.
And the good thing about this map, actually, Border, is that you can play around that Monty or that Blitz with 2 or 3 players. Even honestly, with 2 players, that's enough. You can take CC with a Monty. You can take Office as well. You can take his stairs.
A map control is so key for the attackers on such a small map as well.
100%. And what you need for that crew is only 3 people. On most maps, you need the whole team to work together on that. Maybe you have 1 lurker, but you need at least a core of 4 players. On Border, you can afford to have only 3 players. They will get that control. That means that you can have 2 lurkers. And let's be honest here, Secret has some of the best guns in Europe right now, and they can challenge BDS on that.
And you bring 2 shields into positions that already are doorways that lead you immediately from the outside to the inside.
Yeah.
There's a lot that can be done with it, and BDS even attempted it.
Yeah.
But it didn't work out for them.
Yeah, no, I will say just to counter this point that this has been kind of the narrative of EU League so far where teams have brought their A game against BDS, and we're seeing Secret again in this game, you know, bring their A game, and somehow BDS are finding ways to win. That users round was just one example of a round where BDS shouldn't have won it, or that was an extreme example, where BDS shouldn't have won it, but came close to. There are lots of rounds where, on an individual basis, BDS can create these mini plans, execute them very quickly, and the round is just gone from the other team.
So right now, to summarize these things, I think Secret is playing better as a team. BDS is relying too heavily on their individuals, specifically users right now. That's not going to take them anywhere, because they've gotten away with it so long, so far. That's just not going to happen against the Secret that we're seeing right now. So they need to start playing as a team. And that's tough because they're in defense on Border. And it's one of the harder sides to play, especially in that map.
You got double shields, you got small entries, and you need to wrap around the entire map to close that gap on the attackers before they get into power positions to execute on site. It's not an easy one to play. We've seen so many years on Border with all of the changes it had over time. However, gentlemen, thank you so much. We still don't have a direct update on the lobby, by the way, so thank you very much for kind of sticking around with us. I know we want to get into the game ASAP, and this time it is not the fault of the casters that we are not getting into game. They are pressing B. It's just not working out in this case. Completely different. But thank you very much for sticking around with us with the tech issues. We'll remind you one more time, tickets for the Montreal Major are still available. I'll remind you the last 2 events we've had were completely sold out, and we had a lot of fun in Manchester and at SI in Sao Paulo. Hopefully we'll get to see you in Montreal as well. We'll take a quick break. When we get back, hopefully we'll be ready to get into game.
It's total calamity, total mayhem inside of the server. Out of nowhere, they find their round back into their favor.
Holding up for the blood, the wave! And I think he might just find it!
Welcome to Manchester. Feels like this one has been a long time coming. Should we show them how the UK does it, guys?
SSG sent home. Scars came so close. Talon have fumbled at the final hurdle.
R6 Esports has taken those that love it all around the world, but never before in the UK. That changes here and now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Blast R6 Manchester Major. Our 8 final teams. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for our finalists.
The world champions defeated.
There's a fire sale on tournament favorites Manchester, and the underdogs are buying.
A semi-final Saturday of Siege. Let's have it, Manchester!
Action from the bees. It goes in. Shotgun in hands. Oh my god! Oh my god!
And it's heartbreak for Nath, but for BDS, their first shot in a year and a half at raising that trophy.
Are you ready to introduce our show match? Let's bring them up.
Get in there, Tom. Here we go. Bang!
How intimidating is that going to be having that stood behind? It is absolutely massive.
Our champione, Mr. Tom J. Sherlock and his team.
It's a pleasure and a joy to bring you all in to the final.
This is the Cinderella story, to say the least. I mean, they made themselves #1 NA, and now they find themselves here at the grand final.
BDS on the other side.
I think they are some of the best players in the world.
Manchester, are you ready? One more time, let's bring up our team to the stage. The job isn't finished. Can you do this?
100% we can. We're just going to keep proving people wrong.
Against the Solace, the fate of the intel. Day, holding up for the blood.
Virtus Pro is our team. We are playing for a long time together, like maybe 6 years in a row, and we actually think that strategic is more important in this game than house. I don't know, chaotically. I don't know how to call it in English, but we like structure, you know, when you step by step know what to do and know how to win the round.
Listen up! Nighthaven Ordnance was stolen. Target anyone using our gear and put them down. Now load it up, let's go! Are you deaf, soldier? I said move!
Sorry, Callie. Orders are to keep you grounded.
And whose orders might that be?
Mine.
Is that all you got? Damn it! I didn't kill Yahata! Someone stole Nighthaven Ordnance and is selling it, jeopardizing our operation.
We know, but that doesn't mean you get to start a war over it.
This is Rainbow's operation now. Not sure your butter knife will cut it, darling. You'll be up against very loud guns. We have a squad for that. Red Hammer.
Welcome back here, where we have been, well, knee-deep in a tech pause, a problem that is being sorted out. We're still sorting it out. I'm sorry to bring the bearer of news, but we thought we'll just do a bit of a check-in, see how everyone's doing. How are you doing, Hap?
Yeah, very well. Legend has it that Alpha and Fresh are deep in the server closet trying to get everything sorted out.
They're
there.
working.
And,
They're working away.
Yeah, working away, making sure that that we can get going again. I just saw a hopeful image there on Shaiko's screen. That looked like a lobby that was almost full.
I think touch wood. Whatever we can get to work into our favor right now is we'll get it. As we said, this isn't a guarantee that we'll be back soon. There might be positive energy, positive feng shui coming through the room right now. But we may as well tell you where we were up to, which was a 4-3 in the favor of Team Secret. They had done all of their defenses. The half ended at 3 apiece. It was a good start from BDS, a great response from Secret, and now their first attack round, they were able to win, Hap.
Yeah, they managed to turn the tide and then put themselves up with a pretty convincing victory. 4 people still left alive in that round. Again, just a very quick, a very convincing round that came through. So if they manage to continue that momentum, definitely making some big strides today, because I said it before the game started, their own goal is to be top 2 of the league, and they're currently 4 points behind on Wolves. They will not be playing today, so they have the opportunity to bring that back to just a single point. But more importantly, they're taking away points from BDS, which 5 teams before them have not been able to do, which basically only leaves 2 more teams that maybe could.
As we find ourselves, obviously, towards the tail end of what's been a very long week of siege, as we've found ourselves deep within the hallowed halls of a super week. Now, across these 2 teams, they've been participating in every single one of these fun play days. They've been able to make sure that they can sort of keep their rounds going. And it's been a bit of a different story for each of them getting to this point. Obviously, Secret being able to get a bit of revenge against G2, getting the 7-4 yesterday as they suffered on the wrong end of it in stage 1. BDS on the other side of that, technically they got revenge against ENT, but let's be honest, BDS are cruising. They also took the 7-5 win against Wolves on the first day, where Secret took a bit of a bashing from Wild.
Yeah, for sure. But the thing is about BDS, right? Like, they are currently the best team inside of Europe, and you know they have been for a little bit as well. And what starts happening at that point is that everybody is just performing well against you. Everybody's looking towards that one game and see how are we going to be able to take those points home against BDS. So they're having a lot of tough games as well, in terms of like opponents just outplaying their own capacity to some extent, really bringing it to the next level. But he also, Liquefact said before, look, we're only playing at a 5 out of 10 right now because, you know, there's still a lot to improve. And as their goal is to, well, continue the momentum that they've been building over the last 6 months and see if they can secure another major trophy, they gotta make sure that they're no longer playing on that 5-10, or at least that it starts ramping up a little bit, because, you know, I mean, for now it's just 4 rounds, but that could turn into like a game that they don't win, you know, 3 points. What if that happens then suddenly in like the European League playoffs? What if you have to go through like 3rd seed, 4th seed?
The amount of times we have seen one bad game or one bad day ruin the chances and ruin the run of an otherwise unstoppable team. You've seen it across every sort of layer and every echelon of competition and tournaments, where sometimes it'll just fall apart for maybe a couple of hours. I don't know what.
I don't know what he's doing.
I feel like that facial expression is going to be on socials within like 10 minutes.
I wish it was like full face cam, like frontal. That would have been perfect.
After this rendition of us getting back into the game, are we back? Where's Fresh? I need him to say we're back. How back are we? Tommy said it down my ear. We are so back. We are so back. Thank you everyone for being patient, for waiting. We are finally back in, and we are going to see if BDS can begin to get some wins here on their defense. The first round did not go their way. Hap, what are your fond memories of that round?
2 shields going quite quickly through the map and causing some chaos amongst the BDS ranks. So see that they're instantly bringing some utility to make sure that doesn't happen. I mean, the Legion and the Frost are definitely there to slow things down. So is the Goyo. Definitely helps. Goyo has been brought in the last round as well, however, so not necessarily a change. And then you look over towards the side of Secret, and as we're headed back towards the same site, wow, I mean, this could also be like a quick plan to some extent.
I think that's the sort of run of it, right? We saw at the start of this that the few sort of changes off. They've kept the blitz. There's no 2 shields. They don't have the ammo for the quick zip. They're not trying to replicate similar ideas to before. There, great use of the utility. Get rid of all of those Goyo canisters. Clear the play space. Make it something you can put some danger in a bit later on. BDS, not a million miles away. Obviously, Brigade's got the lockdown on Office. They were one of the last standing in the previous round and attempt. It was sort of cleared across the back end. Got CC, got security, got top east, and then tried to find the final kills in and amongst Office itself. But they're just prodding, pushing, trying to probe. And one of the things I talked about before is that the kill balance generally has been in the favor of Secret. There's a couple of big pop-off players on BDS, sure, but when you're on this map, Secret are fishing for that weakness, that weak spot, and that could be the couple of BDS players that haven't quite been able to get into the gun game as of yet.
You mentioned it before, quite a lot of utility taken now by Adrian. You saw there in the second Twitch drone as well, taking out some of those goo mines, which of course make it more accessible to start moving up the main stairs at some point in time. 90 seconds are left on the clock though, and still not really any control whatsoever, and it starts to form now around Break, around CCTV. Solotov's playing around there with a Boss G. Very deadly weapon, just needs a single shot to down basically anybody, and well, that face shield won't help you because They're aiming for the body, not for the actual head. And you see it down there, 17 HP. But the tight shot comes in from Groovy and he gets shut down. And that's CC now under control for the side of Secret. And with a minute left on the clock, it's definitely a big help.
It's just such a risky game to play, right? You have to have so much confidence that you're going to hit ahead. When you're swinging into a boss G, you lose the first bite. You're on 17 health. And Groovy makes it work, but as he said, the face shield won't do much. And now, EFAC has moved in towards that territory. They've reclaimed it. If this is something that is being checked here, Adrian puts the pressure on. The smoke is there. There's the blind on the player and the drop down. Beautifully played, but look at the time of 30 seconds. They've got to keep rolling, keep pushing. Look towards Armory and look towards the plant itself. The Glaz is in, Gumine in foot, but it's actually a trade out either side with Doom getting some of the pieces picked up. The plant is being attempted. They have the close cover. They have the last man. BDS said it was the last alive last time, and he's still checking papers inside the office. But unfortunately, this one says there's a plant. You got to get back to your desk, mate. Swings a bit wide. He's pretty much surrounded. When you've got a blitz in this situation amongst a lot of other operators, you don't really have a lot you can work with. Crossed out Secret. 2 rounds in a row on their attack. 4 technically in a row.
And as a result, like, just that first kill that we see happen on Solotov, you know, Vigil with the boss G playing around in CCTV, and then the snowball starts happening. For like a minute 30, Secret is just surrounding that room. Nothing really else is going on. Managed to get that kill. Solotov goes aggressive, tries to retake CCTV. The spot where he is, they send flashbangs to him, they send a blitz shield to him. He dies. That now means that Armory is no longer being held, and they just rush in there. They just take the ground. And they have the opportunity to go for the plant, whereas other members are still out there finding BDS players when they're on the way back. So definitely a bit of a rough round there for BDS. And I think they have a tactical timeout that they've called.
Yes, they do. They are taking a moment because things are falling a bit away from them. Now, they're still a very, you know, dominant force, a terrifying team, and there were risks that were associated with them coming onto this and with them coming into this position. They're obviously undefeated this split so far. I'm just doing a little bit of counting, a little bit of maths. It's not really maths, it's just going through the old 2, 3. It was on the 5th play day last time they lost their first game. They don't want better this time if this goes away from them. Fair enough.
Managed to extend it. But as you see there, everybody coming back towards the side, being picked up, and BDS just losing that second round in a row on their defense. And that makes 4 in a row in total right now. That has been a pretty big break in between due to some issues that came through, but you know, we're back in the way now. But it definitely didn't help BDS when they were already a bit on the downtrodden there. Now needing to fight themselves back up. And you know, they're trying different things again. This time the Capcan is being brought out to see if maybe those traps will catch 1 or 2 players off guard. Especially Shields, considering they have the opportunity to just run through these barricades and not have to stop and punch him out first. They just go. And if they jump through, that's the back suddenly towards those explosives, and that's an instant kill to come through. So maybe that's what they're, you know, placing those Capcan traps for as well. And it's probably for anybody that walks through. They'll be more than happy with any kill from that, or any damage.
And so far, this is a perfect reflection of the opening of the game, in which we had 2 Armory attempts. 2 of them failed, so they've gone down underneath, but slightly different underneath. Instead of going for the bathroom first, they've instead gone for towers, and well, let's see if they can try and get a little bit more of it locked in. You don't have as much wiggle room, and a C4 onto their own team for... That's a weird one. Where did that C4 explode, and how far did that body go? It looked like they swung it towards the window.
It's like the little metal half wall that is aimed towards the outside door.
Bit of a tragedy.
90.
Does find Groovy. They find their way in towards the site. The smoke's offering some cover. Shaiko gets 1. That C4 doesn't quite get anyone either, but it's a very damaged shield, and that should get the pick back up in a second if it does get activated there. No. Forced off. 5 health. You've still got a blitz that's pretty healthy, that's going to try and move in and get some of this pressure in. Driving through the beepers as Bride does get the end of 1. There's the second. A 2 versus 2, but it's 2 shields. And, well, what can they do here? They have vertical control. That's probably the most important part here, but if they go for a bit of a reverse plant, the angle to stop it is a bit cheeky. What the Shields need to try and do is angle a 2 versus 1 somewhere in this showdown.
The diffuser being down indeed doesn't really help them. Means that, you know, one of them cannot go on their back, but Shields definitely very, very afraid to be going up against Brede, fleshed out by Savage, brings it back to a one-on-one, and now they know exactly who uses this. As he dropped, the Monty spearheading this as well, is trying to lock him out actually as he goes up the metal stairs. Smart thing to do here from users to take that verticality, because those shields don't quite cover the top there, but as he drops down, he walks right into the blitz shield, and Savage finds that final kill, and a round that should have been a BDS one, once again, goes towards Secret.
6-3. Big difference, big distance that's got to be covered. Now, these two teams, when they met in stage 1, went to overtime, did go all the way. BDS locked it out at the long end of it. But this here, on this map, on this sunny Wednesday afternoon, BDS have shown that they are defeatable. Dropped right onto the shield.
I don't know if that was a mistake, but it's such a weird decision to make, because as long as you have that top 4 control, they will not feel very, very comfortable going for that plant. You know, even if it's a 2-on-1, they don't have the guns to challenge it properly. As soon as you get close to those shields, then you're screwed.
10 seconds to go.
BDS have to play backs against the wall at this point, but I mean, Secret, they're going from strength to strength right now. They've really just found a rhythm. 2 shields, 2 problems. Keep it locked in. The Glass, the Amaru, the Twitch as well, to again remove any utility that might be popped up. There's nothing too directly in terms of Goyo canisters, but when you're looking at cap cans, you're looking at goo mines as well that will stop that quick plant in, that hop of the window, turn around, get it locked down, which they've got more than enough cover for here. They want to apply some pace. They want to apply a bit of a pinch, a bit of a lockdown here. They're hoping that BDS is still kind of slow to react to the energy that Secret's been able to deploy here. That C4 might be the end of a story. There's a keeper barricade and a catch on nothing. The smoke does roll down, and they roll in towards the top. The single player might get about bit of a surprise here onto Office. They're aware. Someone's come up east stairs to support them, and there's the fight, but they lose it out. Adrian takes care of users, waits for a press around the back. We hear the smoke canisters popping off inside the site. They're planting. The Monty is locked down, but he's dropped as well. They can't get the kit. Adrian tries to get the cover in. It's a 4 versus 3 versus 3 versus 2. It's just all over the shop, trading out right above each other, still rebuilding. The Glass is now holding on for the plant. They're moving in and spraying. They can't quite get it locked down. It's a double, and there's Shaiko for the end, but it never really ended. Even the music man was caught a little bit by surprise.
We live for another round, and we keep going, but that was very chaotic. It was just trades on trades on trades all over the map. And then trying to force that plant with still 2 players left on the side without any support from that moment. I mean, that understandable that they wanted to try, but in an unfortunate way, doesn't really help them out at that point. If anything, it would have been better if anybody else could have gone for the plants. The Glass could cover through the smoke. But it's a round that has been lost. It is one of the 3 match points that Secret has that they weren't able to convert. But the thing is, they tried to go a little bit quicker maybe than they originally planned, but they have the luxury to do that, considering they're 3 rounds up in total. So again, there's no reason to panic yet for the side of Team Secret. BDS, they almost let this slip away. Luckily able to find those 2 fights at the same time. But as we now head back towards that top floor, that's just scary times for BDS. Maybe they've finally gotten a little bit more into the groove now, so able to more confidently go back in towards Armory Archives. But we did see how this went in the past couple of rounds that this has been attacked.
2 rounds. The deficit isn't impossible. But it's an entirely different lineup here. Not the drive on the shield. We have instead something with maybe a little bit more spatial control. Well, a lot more spatial control. The line combined with the Deimos as well as the Grimbees will buy you as much control over that space as you want. See if you can try and shepherd again these engagements instead of driving at them face first. Force a bit of motion instead to catch onto the connecting camera. There's a nice one, but you can see BDS is almost a bit eager to get this first fight in, and they don't. Savage on the back of the Deimos, communicating exactly where EFAC was, while safe outside the building themselves, was able to help that get cemented. And a second, Shaiko is gone as well. Solotov's taken a little bit of a beating, but as long as they still stand.
See the preemptive smoke out there as well, as they're afraid that a push is going to be following. In the meantime, though, they're really trying to get control of Armory. And it was only Solotov that was out there. And now he's moved over towards CCTV. He's basically given free play to the players to try and repel in. Being tracked now by the death mark, fully flashed as well, as Brede is the last man standing.
And out of nothing, there's everything. Cut in half, Savage tears it apart, and Secret prove that BDS can be beaten. A kind of surprising bit of energy, because it never really felt like this top EUL team, the team that was destroying everybody else, truly got into the pace of Border.
Again, Team Secret said they wanted to be a top 2 team. Beating BDS is definitely a great statement to make if you want to achieve that goal. So 3 points that a lot of other teams will not be able to put on their tally, they just managed to secure.
Well, we'll throw it to our desk for them to talk about it and break it down.
Thank you very much. And if you're a Team Secret fan, today is a beautiful day. Not only do you get to see Fluke and Hap, but you also get to see your team taking down Team BDS. The #1 team in EU League finally goes down. We've been talking about this for days now, Leo. It's gonna happen at some point, and today it was clear Secret were better.
Yeah, I think it was long time coming. I think they could not rely all the time on their individuals. I wouldn't say that their fundamentals are completely gone, but clearly in that matchup, it was so frag heavy for them that I didn't see anything else in terms of strategy, except for that one round where they actually executed like they wanted, but didn't play properly around the plant. Except for this, there was no real game plan compared to Secret. That for me is the biggest thing, Jack.
Yeah.
If you look at the game plan from Secret, it's really real. Look at their operators.
I loved it. We kind of speculated, or in the mini halftime show that we did.
Yeah.
Will they play the Monty Blitz every single round? And in Secret's 5 attacking rounds, they played a double shield combination in 3 of them, and then brought Blitz in 4 of them. So they played a lot of shields. That's what they identified was the key to their success on their attacks into Border. And obviously they won 4 out of 5 attacks. Absolutely crazy.
If I'm in Secret's shoes right now, I want to play the fragging game on Border against one of the best teams in the world, the best fraggers in the world. I bring operators that will put an edge for me, that will put me in an advantage situation where I can play against them. And that's what they did by bringing Glass and playing in the smokes, by bringing Monty and shields, and using the shields to be at an advantage in those gunfights. And they consistently abused what we would call toxic or cheesy operators to get in a favorable gunfight. And that 100% worked because of all these attacks that we're able to pull. Look at this kill, for example. Another way that you get a favorable gunfight. Same thing for Glass through that smoke. So many of these kills, they got abusing the right operators.
And then if we look at the context of the week, by the way, they've played all 3 games in Super Week. No day off. Obviously, they had that in the very first week. They got whacked by Wild 7-1 at the start of the week. They've then backed that up with a game against G2 and a game against BDS and beaten both of them in regulation. For Team Secret, that's an incredible achievement that, in my mind, has now just kick-started their season. They're now back in that contention for top 2, looking to confirm playoffs, looking to go to the major, when just yesterday, in the pre-show yesterday, we're saying, hey, Secret, they've really dropped.
And I actually want to pick both of your brains on this. Sorry to put you on the spot on it, but what is it about Team Secret's victory today versus BDS that is different than how they played yesterday against G2?
I think for me, but I think we both agree on this, it was not necessarily that Secret played that well against G2 on Clubhouse. I think that a lot of the end of rounds that we're playing towards were really 50-50, if not 40-60 in the favor of G2. But Adrian and Joom clutched many of those, and lots of these execution arrived too late without any utility. That's my issue with it. Today, they were in full control. One of the things we said on broadcast before the pre-show is, what do they need to do to be more consistent? we need them to, we need Savage to show up and have a great game plan. That's exactly what happened. By these shields, by using the strategy and the tactic, and these really good operators to get the edge, that was the Savage that we needed.
And we've got to praise Twister as well, haven't we?
Yeah.
If we look at the
100%.
maps that they managed to play Clubhouse against G2, one of Secret's favourite maps, and one of G2's permabans, and they've played Border against BDS, one of Secret's favourite maps, and one of BDS's permabans as well. They've been put on the right maps to succeed as well.
Well, let's talk about a highlight player for today, Savage, Jack.
Yeah, so Savage, Leo actually kind of called him out a little bit in the pre-match, and he said, we've not seen Savage align with this team yet so far this stage. Now, what I want you to focus on when you're looking at this graphic is that operator in the top left of your screen. The fact that Savage was playing on the Blitz. As we said in the halftime show that we had in this game, the Blitz, the Monty, it forces people to play around him, and Savage is an incredibly good shield player. We've seen that time and time again. He had a massive day today, but with most of those kills coming when he was playing on those shields, really forcing the defenders out of position on Border. So, yeah, a big shout out to Savage because he was lagging a little bit behind. It looked like the season today has finally started for him.
Sometimes it does take a few days to kind of get warmed up into it, and Team Secret definitely are in that spot. Thank you very much, Jack. And we have to have a chat with our winners, as always, from Team Secret. Joining us on the big screen, you'll see it. See it here. Hello, hello, hello. Congratulations on the win. How are you feeling today?
Feeling very good, very excited, very happy, obviously, that we won and that the game plan worked.
And I want to ask you about that game plan. Was going to Border part of it?
It was one of the many maps that we wanted to go through and like utilise our abilities because we knew we were confident on it throughout the week during scrims.
When I look at you guys playing against G2 before that, when we were talking with you, we were saying actually you guys have an amazing lineup with great players, but you were playing very slow and methodical on Clubhouse. What you showed today on Border was explosiveness, was playing glass, double shields, Amaru. So it's a completely different playstyle. I love it. Where does it come from?
It just mainly is developed depending on who we're playing against and like what maps, and it's fully map dependent on what we want to do for the day. It's always something different to try and like obviously catch people off hand, because I think that's like what we do best is try and do our own thing that might not be the most logical, but it works because you can't really fully predict it.
That's crazy that you guys are able with this team to be able to play these different styles, but at a top tier level. Where I see this, like you guys just beat G2 and then you beat BDS. And that's something that from starting the week losing 1-7, like how do you come back from this and then win against two of the best teams in Europe?
You just gotta put trust in yourself and what you're working for throughout the scrims. Like don't let yourself, like in your own mind, talk yourself down. Just keep believing, keep working, believe in the people around you to the end goal, and just play your game. There's like not really much pressure apart from that.
Well, now you've played the Super Week out. You've had 3 play days in a row. Do you feel you've gained what you wanted to gain, either as an individual player or as a team from these 3 days?
I think it definitely could have gone better during the start. I don't think we had a great showing against Wild. It was a rough performance, but I'm happy that we got to prove ourselves against G2 and BDS that what we do like behind the scenes is useful, and showed that it worked.
Well, thank you very much, Adrian. Again, congratulations once more to Team Secret taking down BDS. And thank you so much for joining us, Adrian. Go, get some rest. We'll see you next week.
Thank
What a game we have had. And thank you, too, by the way.
We're a tank.
Yeah. Sorry for the cut up there, but there we are. It seems like a breath of fresh air, but this is why Team Secret made it to the Manchester Major. I'm very excited. Maybe there'll be another one on the line.
I'm just wondering right now, after beating BDS, beating G2, if they're showing that they can break the ceiling that they had in Manchester, qualify to Montreal, and have a better chance there with Virtue as a backline as well.
Well, let's get into it. We'll take a quick break. When we get back, we got more EOL action for you right here.